So, we are learning about training and development, and in the previous lecture we got into learning what is training and what is development. Though both these terms are used collectively and at times they are thought to be synonyms, but we also learned that training is different from development. So friends, training is a continuous process whereby the skills, the knowledge and the attitudes and the competencies of individuals are improved, and these improved skills and competencies, they lead to enhanced performance both of the individual, that is the employee, and these enhanced performances of individuals lead to enhanced performance and productivity of the organizations as well. So, we learned that training is different from development because training is a short term thing and development is more of a long term process. So, friends, today we are going to learn, moving further, that how training benefits the organizations, what are the disadvantages of training and development, what is the training process, and we will also learn about measuring the effectiveness of training. So, how training benefits the organization? Well, as I already stated that when employees are trained, they become more active, they become more understanding as to the needs of the environment, and we all know that organizations, they work in sync or in synergy with the environmental challenges. So, when these employees are trained, they perform in a better manner, and this leads to improved profitability or more positive attitudes toward the profit orientation. It also improves the job knowledge and skills at all levels of the organization, because training is not only limited to a certain level of people, it is not only limited to only the new recruits, but we studied in the previous lecture also that training is a continuous process and it must be given at all levels within the organization so that it can benefit all the people in the organization. So, it also helps people identify with the organizational goals. It helps create a better corporate image. So, obviously, when people working in the organization, they are well versed with the skills, the knowledge that is being upgraded from time to time. So, that will definitely lead to a better corporate image. And it also fosters authenticity, openness and a feeling of trust. And organizations get more effective decision making and problem solving skills. So, it is not just that the training is limited to certain skills like handling with a particular equipment. No, because these trainings and development programs are also oriented, or they also impart knowledge on how to make decision making, how to be critically thinking person, how to solve your problems in an effective manner. Now, this also helps keep the costs down in many areas, for example, production, the personnel area and administration, etc. Now, training also creates an appropriate climate for growth, for communication, thereby improving the organizational communication. So, it is a beneficial thing for the organization, and it also provides information for future needs in all areas of the organization. Now, apart from the organization, training definitely benefits the individuals or the employees who are working in the organization. So, we learnt about the category of people who are given training. First and foremost are the new recruits who join an organization. So, they are definitely given a kind of training about the vision, the mission, the policies, the rules and regulations of the organization. Then another set of employees who are trained are the ones who are maybe their job roles are changed. They are moved or transferred from one department to the other. So while moving from one department to the other department, employees need to be trained, because now their job description or the task that they are going to perform has changed. And the third category of individuals who are given training are the ones who are promoted. So if you are promoted in hierarchy, so again you will be performing a different set of tasks, and then you again need to be trained. So these are the three types of individuals, we can say, who need training, and training benefits these individuals. So through training and development, the motivational variables of recognition, achievement, growth, responsibility and advancement are internalized, and this aids in encouraging and achieving self-development and self-confidence. So if I am performing a particular set of jobs and I am not confident because I am not trained, and that lack of confidence will hinder my performance. But when I am trained in handling with the problems or issues of the job, or maybe if I am handling a particular equipment or a machinery and I am well trained in how to tackle the problems or how to even work with the routine working of the that particular machinery, then I will be confident. But on the other hand, if I am not trained, I am confused and I am not well aware of how to deal with problems related to that machinery, that confidence will not be there, and that will definitely hinder my performance. So when individuals are trained, it benefits them and it enhances their development and their self-confidence. Now, apart from the individuals and the organization, the training also benefits human relations, intra-group and intergroup relations also. So let's learn how training benefits relationships. It basically improves our communication between groups and individuals. So in the previous lecture also, I stated that there are a number of trainings these days that are being given to individuals or employees in the organization that aim at improving the communication skills within the department or within the organization. So this also helps in orientation for new employees and those taking new jobs through transfer or promotion. So as I stated that there are three types of people who are benefited by training. So the new recruits, the one who are taking new jobs through transfers or promotions. Then trainings provide information on the equal opportunity or other government laws and administrative policies. So many a times what happens is that the government changes certain policies, certain laws are changed. So every employee might not be well versed with all these changes. So in that case also, to stay abreast to all these new informations, new laws, new regulations, new policies, training is beneficial. Now friends, if anything has advantages, it has disadvantages too. So training and development is a very, we can say, integral part of human resource management. And today, because of the cutthroat competition that organizations are facing, and apart from the cutthroat competition, there are technological advancements that are taking place at the blink's eye. तो उसमें जो है हमारी ट्रेनिंग और डेवलपमेंट जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा काम आती है, and organizations are spending lots of money in training and development of their employees. But what happens is that if that training and development is not up to the mark, is not relevant, then the entire program fails. Now let's understand that what are the disadvantages of training and development. So although training for employees is essential for almost any business, employers must consider the potential drawbacks or disadvantages that training employees can have on the company, the existing staff even, and even the bottom line of the organization. So, let us learn about what all can be the disadvantages of training, though it seems to be having all the benefits, and I also stated that it is a win-win situation, that when you give training to your employees, you are developing them, you are valuing them, and you are expressing that you value your people, you are enhancing their skills. And when these skills are enhanced, definitely these employees will perform better. They will save time, they will save energy, they will even avoid wastages, so your resources are also saved. But when it comes to the disadvantages, the first and foremost disadvantage of any training and development program is that its cost can be prohibitive. It is one of the biggest potential disadvantages of training employees. And training is broadly given by two types of individuals. One can be internal training and the other can be external training, where what it means is internal training means that any employee internally within the organization is training the other employees, whereas external training refers to the fact that you hire somebody from outside. So, that trainer is not from your organization, he or she is a professional trainer basically. So, if you handle training internally, it costs money because you have to pay one of your employees for training instead of doing the productive work. So, for example, if I am training the employees of my organization, so for that particular time I am not doing my work, I am not doing my job, I am training for that particular 1 hour or 2 hours, and then the organization pays me for that particular training assignment. Also, if you use an outside trainer, external training, what we mean, so you have to pay him or her again for his time. So, that is a great, we can say a prohibitive factor, because in either case, whether it is internal trainer or external trainer, the cost is involved, and organizations do not want to incur so many costs in training. The next point is that the quality of training depends on trainer's effectiveness. So, no matter how much good your training program is, how much relevant your training program is, the quality of your training will depend upon the relevance of the trainer's effectiveness. So, if an employee is very talented at job, you might think that he would make a good trainer for new employees. But unfortunately, this is not always true, because doing one's job and training the other person on that job are two separate things, and most organizations, they fail to understand this concept. For example, I am a very dedicated person and I am doing my job in a very wholehearted manner, and I perform my job perfectly, very effectively and very efficiently. And when new people join the organization, somebody might ask me that, okay, you are doing your job very nicely, we want you to train these newcomers. But training requires many other skills also apart from the technical knowledge of my job. I might not be communicating in a very effective manner. So, people, I myself might be very clear as to what is to be done, but when it comes to explaining the other person as what all things are to be done, I might falter. So, that is the mistake that most organizations commit while deciding on the trainer. They think the employee who is performing well can also train well, but this is not true. So, the quality of training will depend on the trainer's effectiveness. So being able to train employees is a special skill and not everyone has this ability. So that again is the disadvantage of training, because mostly what organizations do is that anyone who performs well at the job is given the additional job, I would say, of training other employees. So there they may fail to express themselves or communicate the new employees about what is to be done. And when it comes to using an employee to train other employees, you might move someone out of their comfort zones and they may be unable to train new employees as you need them to be trained. So certainly the organization also has some of its expectations on how the employees are to be trained. But when you are using your employee to train others, so there you are moving them or shifting them from their comfort zone, and they might not be very passionate about training. So they are passionate about doing their job and not training. So these are two separate things that should not be mixed. So another disadvantage of training is that it takes time from your daily operations. So another potential problem with training employees is that you may not have enough time to do so adequately, because training is a time consuming thing and it is something that has to be continuous. You can't have just a training of one day and then the whole year goes by and there are no trainings. No, it has to be a continuous process, but at the same time you have to detach the employees from their routine work. So that is the biggest challenge. So many companies only devote a small amount of time to training new employees, and this could result in the employees not knowing everything they need to know to be successful. So most organizations are, though many MNCs are putting in lots of efforts as far as training their employees are concerned, but many companies still, they are rigid and they still feel that training is a waste of time. So they just dedicate small amounts of time into training only the new employees, so that they just get acclimatized with what all is to be done and what all expectations they have from the employee. But this again is a drawback, because what you intend, what is your objective of training is not clear and it will not be achieved, and employees will not know all the information, they will not get to know the information that is required to be successful. And the trainer may have to rush through the important parts of the job, and he or she may skip over some of the other tasks that also need to be understood by the employee, because your daily routine and daily operations are also important. So the trainer, if he or she is an internal person, internal employee, he or she has their own tasks and their own jobs also to be done. So in that particular schedule, they are asked to train. So they will not put in a lot of time and effort, and the entire objective of training is failed. This is a very interesting, I would say, disadvantage of training and development, is that you, while training your employees, are helping your competitors. So let's understand how this happens is that you have to train completely inexperienced employees in order for them to do their jobs effectively. Now you have this objective in mind that the people who are coming to your organization, you have to train them so that they can do their jobs effectively. But there can be too much of a good thing if you are in a competitive field. Now, by giving an employee intensive training, you may be doing a lot of work that will ultimately benefit one of your competitors. So, what this means is that you are imparting knowledge, you are imparting skills, you are trying to change an individual's behavior, their attitudes, their perceptions towards work, or it can be any other skill. But what happens is, most of the times that employees, when they are trained, they leave their current organization and they move to some other organization at a hike. So, by doing so, what you are doing is that you are investing so much of time and money in the advancement or in the technical growth of your employee, but ultimately the fruit or the outcome of those trainings, the benefit of those trainings, it goes to your competitors. So, before imparting trainings, it is important to judge the loyalty of your staff. So, otherwise what will happen is that they may decide to look for a better offer elsewhere, and once they have got more valuable skills on their resume. So, certainly you have been trying to upskill them so that you can avail the benefits of those upskilled we can say behaviors. But what happens is that the employee leaves you and moves to another organization. So, this is one of the biggest we can say disadvantage of training and development. So, the next disadvantage that we are going to learn about is that control of training is very crucial. So, when you delegate training of new employees to a particular employee or trainer, you have to be very careful as to what the new employees are learning. So, that control or supervision of training is very essential. Even if the trainer is an internal person, an internal employee, still you must be aware as to what is the content of training. So, if trainer does not do as you want it to be done, your new employees might end up in a way you don't expect. So, whatever the content of training is being designed, is being implemented, you must be aware of what all is the content of the training. So, if it is not so, the ultimate result of training will not be beneficial for you as an organization. So, this could make your entire business perform at a level that is less than acceptable from your point of view, but employees would not know it, because employees have been trained. They think that they have been trained, and you are also aware that okay, these employees have been trained, but what has been taught to them, what content has been given to them, what information has been given to them. So, it is very important that this control of training material or training content has to be there. So, without controlling, it is of no use. So, the next disadvantage of training is the loss of interest. So, many a times the training sessions which lead for long hours, employees are bored and aren't interested in their session. So, when training programs are conducted continuously with same data or same theory again and again, the employees lose interest, and the benefits that what we want to achieve from a training program will not be there. So, in many organizations there are consequent and subsequent training programs that the employees at times are tired of these training programs. And another aspect of the trainee being losing their interest is that at times the trainers do not bring something new. They are presenting the same data or the same theory or the same examples again and again. They are not upgrading themselves also. So, it is very important for the trainer also to be upskilled, to know about what all new examples or new modes of training can be incorporated. So, so that they can have the interest and engagement of the trainees. So, this is again a disadvantage. Then similar disadvantage of training and development is that training sessions can be complicated at times. So, there are some training and development programs that include heavy use of theory and even practical information that can be hard to understand for workers. So, if you are including lots of complex theories, lots of complicated examples in your training program, there again the employees will lose interest. So, in some departments, skill development programs are based on too much of theory rather than application. So, instead of deciding upon what all is to be taught, let's make it more application based. So, when trainings are more application based and the employees feel that okay, this is what needs to be done and this is what has to be implied. So, that way the employees will have a better understanding of what they are being taught. And plenty of theoretical instructions, as I said, and data can be confusing, and they might feel bored and disengaged as far as the trainings are concerned. So, friends, in the current lecture, we learnt about the details of training and development, and what are the benefits of training and development, apart from what all disadvantages can be there. So, we will continue with some more interesting topics on training and development. Thank you.